Okay, so my clock shows 12 o'clock and I try to always start promptly. So I'm going to go ahead and dive in. And again, I just want to thank everybody who has taken time to be here today. I know that the world is totally upside down. It's April Fool's Day, which I know I've heard so many things about people not even pulling pranks because it feels like we've all had a big prank pulled on us with the way things are right now. But I'm, for one, glad it's April. The last 2 weeks of March felt like they went on forever. So it's a new month. We've got lots more webinars lined up for you. First and foremost, though, I really want to thank our partners, all of these fantastic organizations and chambers that I was either referred to or connected with to offer this webinar series so that we could get this information in front of as many people as possible for free. I have done best practice webinars for years and always love getting that information in front of people, but I feel like it's more critical now than ever that businesses know where to spend their time with their digital marketing as dollars tighten up and time tightens up. We really need to know where to spend our time. So I thank each and every one of these chambers. I also thank my good friend Anissa Starnes, who connected me with so many of you. And for those of you that don't know me, I am Lisa Perry, and that guy behind me is Brian. And if you were at my last webinar, you saw another picture that I shared, and I've decided that I'm going to find a new picture every single time so you aren't always seeing the same one. But it's so funny to me that this is yet another picture where Brian is behind me being silly and I'm trying to just do business. But that's how we function, the two of us. But we also have a team of Perry pros that make up our digital marketing agency, Perry Productions. We've been in business this is now our 26th year. Sidebar, Brian and I have been married for 27 years. So we've been at this a long time, together a long time, and we love what we do. We also have a new brand for our company that we launched last year called Lisa Perry Social. And that's what these webinars are out of. And it's because we wanted to create an online learning platform that these webinars fall under. We also offer lots of free resources, downloads, checklists, cheat sheets, blog articles, and then also online courses that we are continuing to grow and build. And we launched our first one last year. So those are our two companies, and that's where we spend our time. For those of you that don't know, this is the second in a series of webinars that we're doing throughout March and April. So hopefully you've registered for all of them because every single one of them is going to be packed with information that you can use. I will tell you that the email marketing one has the lowest signups right now, but it's probably the most important one that I will do. Every single person who's signed up for this webinar signed up through an email. And so while social media connects us, and I love to teach how to use it, email marketing is where the sales are. So I highly recommend that you attend that one. I love talking about email marketing. It certainly has been what has been the key to us growing our business over the years. So be sure to sign up for any of those that you can. But like right now, Brian and I are going to try something new. We're going to try this built-in webinar poll. And so he's going to launch this poll, right, Brian? And I want to know how you're currently using LinkedIn. So he's going to put this poll out there, and I'd like for all of you to participate. So do you use LinkedIn pretty regularly, like as a news feed, like you would on Facebook, where you're looking at posts and searching for content and you're using it as a news resource? Or are you using it only to accept connections, maybe sometimes going and connecting with somebody and initiating one, or do you never even log in? So I'd love to know how my audience today is made up. Are you an active user? Are you a dabbler? Or are you like, I don't even know how to use that. I'm never going over there. So let me know. I'm going to wait just a minute and allow everybody to vote, and then Brian's going to close the poll and we're going to see what our results are. I will tell you that LinkedIn has evolved quite a bit from what it was initially. I mean, it started as a place for you to kind of have your electronic resume, but it has truly become a platform to be reckoned with. And so many connections and business connections are made and business is being done through LinkedIn. And I'm excited to share with you today some really specific things that you can start doing today to use it as a sales tool, to amplify your profile so that you can use that as a marketing um, document instead of just a resume for yourself. So, Brian, did you say you closed the poll? Okay, so I think he's going to share the poll results, right? I can't see it. Okay, so the poll results show that 30%, which is a lot, that's great, view the news feed for content regularly. 43% really are only using it to accept connections, and 27% never log in. So you 27%, I'm going to super motivate you today, and you're going to really start using this as a tool for your business. So anyway, thank you for participating in that. That was fun. Brian and I are going to start including polls when we can. So what are we going to talk about today? This is our agenda. I really wanted to key in on several things that I feel like you can dive in and do today, or this week, or in the very near future, to use LinkedIn to meet your business goals. So number one, we're going to look at optimizing both the personal profile and the company page. Hopefully you know that there is a difference. We're going to look at the key features that you should focus on completing and enhancing at a minimum. We're also going to look at what to share, especially now, what types of things can you be doing? I've been impressed with some of the businesses that have really pivoted and are using the different social media platforms to still get their information out in front of people, even if their business has been closed, or if they're now having to function remotely. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Probably the coolest thing that I think is this leads and making connections. I think if there's going to be a wow moment, if you're not using this, this is pretty powerful stuff. And so I'm excited to share this strategy with you. And then lastly, we're just going to look at hashtags and how to use them on LinkedIn. So that's kind of our agenda for the next hour, and we'll dive right in with why LinkedIn. So LinkedIn has reached 675 million members, and it's seeing, especially over the last year, record levels of engagement because because the news feed is so much better. People are spending more time there. The average person on LinkedIn is of a higher salary, a higher job level. So they're looking for something specific in their newsfeed related to business. Facebook continues to be that place where you find restaurants and you find, shopping and things like that, and connecting with your friends. But people who are searching that LinkedIn feed are looking to do business. So a lot of marketers are leveraging these tools to connect with people. One interesting thing I learned recently is that the algorithm changed, and a lot of people who were just trying to connect with a large volume of people, that was their strategy. And you might get requests from people you don't know all the time, and you wonder, should I connect with this person or not? The algorithm changed, and what it looks at now is the percentage of people who you engage with, and they focus on the quality of your contacts, not volume. So for instance, if you have just 100 connections, but when you post something 20 people comment, that's a very high percentage of people engaging with you, and the algorithm will reward you for that. Whereas if you have 2,000 connections and you post something and only one interact, that's not as good a ratio. So I think when you look at who you connect with, make sure there's somebody you know and that you think that you can do business with, that they're going to be interested in your businesses, or your products or your services. But that algorithm did change over time, and I'm glad that they did that, because I didn't like the mass spamming. When I get those requests from people that I just don't know, and I know they're just trying to get information in front of me, but I don't have a relationship with them, that's not necessarily the strategy that you want. And then lastly, we want to think of your LinkedIn page as a service hub. So if you offer customer service, using your LinkedIn page can be a great way for you to leverage that as well. More and more people are going to all of the social media platforms when they want answers about service. So you certainly need to be manning all of those. But one of the things you can do is direct people to your LinkedIn page to solve problems. And so I think those are just some of the reasons to use LinkedIn and how you can leverage it for your business. But number one, I want to talk about your different profiles. So on LinkedIn, you can have a personal profile, which used to be kind of your online resume, but I'm going to show you how to tweak it so that it can be more about doing business. And then you also can have a company page, which, like I said, we're going to look at that second. But I want to start here with your personal profile and just key in on a couple different areas of your profile. And number one, I want to start with the headline. And what that is the content right underneath your name. And so you can see here, a lot of you that may just be your job title. And I'm going to task you with the very first thing that you can do today is to change that and to make it more of a marketing statement. And at the end of this, I'm going to show you some online resources. We actually have created 2 worksheets, one to optimize your personal profile and one for your company page. These are PDFs that will be included in our post-webinar email that you can download and use to do not just these few things I've highlighted, but a whole lot more to make your profiles the best that they can be. So you can look forward to those. And just in case I didn't mention it, you should receive an email this afternoon that will include the replay link of this webinar. So if you have to leave early, don't worry, we'll get that in your hands. The full webinar is being recorded. It will also have a slide deck. So you will receive a PDF with all of these slides that I'm sharing. And then you will also receive those 2 worksheets for your personal profiles. So anyway, just wanted to make sure that got to you. I have received a few emails from people who haven't received that, so make sure you check your spam folder or somewhere else, but that will go out later today. But let's talk about the headline. So what you don't want to have is Lisa Perry, CEO, or Lisa Perry, marketing specialist, because people who are Googling for marketing and web design and online courses aren't going to find me if I don't tell them what I do. The nice thing about LinkedIn's headline is they give you a whole lot of characters. Use every single one of them so that people can understand what it is you do. So even for your employees, we have tasked everybody on our team. We like to say everybody is in the marketing department to encourage them to change their LinkedIn profiles to be what they do for our business. And the way that I like to look at this too is to lead with the goal of your audience, not your job title. So what problems do you solve for your target audience? So you can see in my headline, I specifically say that we do effective marketing and web design for small businesses and nonprofits. So right off the bat, I've addressed who my audience is. Now, there's lots of information about there that the more niche audience you serve, the better. Again, because people are searching and they can find your profile. So maybe I only do marketing for car dealers, or I specialize in accounting for construction agencies. If you're that niche, then you can make that part of your headline as well. But what are the problems that you solve for somebody, right? I use the word effective marketing because a lot of people, just randomly do marketing, but I want to tell people, listen, we're going to do effective marketing, something that's really going to work for your business. So you want your headline to be something that's going to solve a problem for somebody or help them to achieve a goal. Where are they going to be if they hire you? And then obviously mention your products or services. So you may not know that you can even include an emoji in there. I love this little lady in the purple shirt raising her hand because when I was in high school, my nickname was Spring Arm because I was in the front row and I always asked a lot of questions. And so I just wanted to say, hey, I'm here for you. I'm here to answer your questions. But I really like that the headline gives me enough room that I can plug my free webinars, my online courses, and my consulting services. So at a glance of my personal profile, you know a whole lot about me and what I do for what I can do for you or your business. So use that headline, work those characters. I rewrote this several times before I got it just right. When you're typing in that area, it will actually tell you how many characters you have left. It'll go red, negative if you've gone over, and you can tweak it from there. I don't usually use ampersands, but I use them here because I really wanted to get all that content in there. So a little bit about the headline. The other area that I think is super important for your personal profile is your about or summary. One of the things you may not realize is that you can actually move the sections around in LinkedIn. So a lot of you may have right below your headline your work experience, your former work experience. Well, for me, nobody cares where I used to work. I want for my customers or potential clients to know what I can do for them right now. So that includes people on your sales team, that includes anybody that works for you. Have them revise their about to be, what is their job and how do they help your clients and customers. Again, you can see that I've used emoji check marks here. I try not to make too long of paragraphs because the truth is people just skim content anymore. So I really want to highlight, and they can just hone in on what we do. We do social media posts, we do email newsletters, we do powerful websites. That's what we do. And so I even ask the question, and we kind of break down this formula within the summary and answer the questions. What do you do? How do you do it? Why does it work? What are the services you provide? And then you can even include testimonials. So you can see I've included one at the bottom. You have 2,000 characters for your about. Use them all. I mean, tell people about your business, but do it in a way that is easily digestible. So just that's another really important piece that you want to work on. Again, on our worksheet, this kind of helps you walk through how to create that for yourself. But what you want to change it from is your job experience to what can you do for the person who is reading it. We want to tell you that we can help you solve your problems and this is how we can do it. And then they can read that and say, yes, I see myself here. This is who I want to help me solve this pain point. So work through that summary, make it truly a marketing document instead of just a job description. And then lastly, on the personal profile is your cover image. So again, you want to think about what's at the very top of the page. What is the first impression that people get from you? If you've ever been to one of my LinkedIn talks before, I talk about that amazing constellation image. And I'm going to invite all of you to go do an audit of your personal profile. And if you see the constellation image, you know that you have homework from me. All these kids are getting assignments from their teachers electronically over the internet. You have homework from me if your profile has this constellation image. That's the one that LinkedIn puts in there as a default. There is so much you can do with that little bit of space, and I've included some examples here about what you can do. Now, this image space is on both the personal profile and the company profile. So you've actually got two to do if if you've got both. I've shown this example from Austin Belchak. I really like because it's subtle. It's one color, he's got his logo on there and then some different businesses or some media that he's been featured in. The one that I have here from Evelyn, who works for us, she used a branded image that we created for our company. But if you can see that between that cover image and her description, it tells you exactly what she does for our business. And so again, she's not currently job searching, she's currently working for us, and these are the things that she does. And so when somebody comes to this, she's helping be a marketing ambassador for our company. One other strategy that you can take is the one that I use for my cover image right now, and that is to feature a business moment. I mean, one of the things that I really like about this picture is it's from the ribbon cutting of our new building that we bought 3 years ago. And, for me, I do these webinars and I like for people to really get to know me, connect with me. So for me, having a business moment like this makes sense as my cover image because I want people to feel comfortable, give them a little bit of glimpse behind the scenes about who I am. This has got my family, my employees, it's got our former mayor, Barbie with the chamber, everybody that was there, and it's just a great moment. So, however you decide to do your personal profile, that just kind of gives you some examples of what to do with that. Real estate, that's like an ad space for your business. So make the most of it. The other thing I'll encourage you to do is to use a correctly sized image. Nothing looks sloppier than, squeezing a photo in there that the heads of people are cut off or the text is cut off. I'm going to show you a program that you can use to get a perfectly sized image, and I'm also going to share with you exactly what that size is. But definitely take the time to create a perfectly sized cover image that looks as professional as these do. Okay. So the other thing I wanted to show you is that you can also change your settings. LinkedIn recently added an option that you can follow a page. And so there's a difference between you can connect with somebody still, but they can also follow you. So for instance, if you are a thought leader, an influencer, anyone who's going to be putting out content, people can follow you and that will allow them to see your content more often. You have to go into your settings. You can see that I've highlighted here. You go into the top menu and you go to settings and privacy. And then under privacy at the very bottom, there's an option for followers. And if you turn this to yes, then a button will show up and there will be an option to follow you. So you want to, turn that on if you want that option to be there. So for instance, Goldie Chan is she's a thought leader in the LinkedIn video world, and so she's constantly putting out information. So she has changed her button so that people can follow her. Avalyn won't be putting out that type of information, but so we want to keep hers where people can message her if we're putting information out there. So you can still receive messages even if you have that follow option on, because you see if you click on more, there's still the option to connect or message. But the follow button is the primary one. So just something new that you can use if you want people to follow your personal page, if you're going to be putting a lot of content out there in that way. So let's look at the company page a little bit. As I mentioned, actually, I think I might. Yeah, let me start with the company page, a little out of order here. So this is an example of how a cover image for a company might be a little different. This example is the person is the company, but you can see that she has included in the image what she does, the fact that she's a Forbes contributor. It even includes her website. So she has packed a lot of punch into this little billboard for her business with her cover image. So, like I said, take the time on both of these cover images to tell people what you do. What will they get from you? Like, are they going to get tips? Are they going to get news? And how can they learn more? Is it through your website? Is it through a YouTube channel? Don't clutter the image so much that people can't read it, but you can see that she's showing, herself out, doing speaking engagements, but she also includes her website and some other things. And you can see that she's got the follow button turned on. So she's utilizing a lot of those things because she is a thought leader in her industry. So definitely take care of your cover image. But then let's look at the overview page. So when you're on your company page, you can see at the top you have these tabs down the side. So this is how the company pages differ from your personal pages. So the about is also called the overview. Again, a lot of characters here, so take advantage of all of this space. Um, you want to, again, outline who is your audience, how can you help them, what is your call to action, and then use emojis as bullets to really make things stand out. This is just a great advertising space for your business. So you want to make sure this is not just, hey, here's who we are, we've been in business for a while, that's it. Why should I hire you? What services do you offer? Lots of opportunities here for testimonials as well. But utilize that breaking up of information and emojis for bullets so that people can quickly get information that's an overview of your business. Okay, so those are the main sections that I think you should focus on. One other tip when you're working on your business page, you can actually, up in the top, there's is something that says admin view, which means you can see all the areas for yourself to edit. If you click on view as member, then you can see what it would look like to a user. And I like to do that so I can see exactly what they're seeing. And that's the way you can kind of check your work, so to speak, and see how it's going to look. And then you can actually click back and forth between the two. So when you're on member view, you can, up here in the right hand corner, go back and view as an admin. So just a little feature that you may not realize that LinkedIn allows, similar to Facebook's, that will also allow you to view the page as a guest. I've also included a slide in here for the image sizes. So this tells you what size that image should be. I like to point people to this little number below. So even though the image space is 1584 by 396, if you look below, it says visible area is 1350 by 220. So you want to play around with your graphic a little bit and also look at it on mobile, so you make sure that things aren't cut off. So while this might be the number for desktop, you don't want to put all of your information all the way to the edges, because sometimes those things get cut off. And that's a tip for all social media, even your Facebook cover images. Always go look at them on mobile and make sure that some of the text area isn't getting cut off. As far as your profile picture size, 400 by 400 is the standard size for your profile. And then your logo size is 130 by 130. And then this also shows what preferred sizes are for even your LinkedIn posts. So, like I said, I am a stickler for really having perfectly sized images on social media. I will tell you that all of the platforms periodically change their sizes, which can be very frustrating. But just test them and tweak them, but make sure that they look really good, because that just looks very professional. And especially on LinkedIn, I believe that there is a higher level of things looking professional, and what is acceptable. So you really want to take the time to do that, especially with your LinkedIn posts and cover images. If you've been to my Facebook seminar, you heard about Canva. If you're new, this is my favorite tool out there. It's a graphic design tool. It does have presets, or perfectly sized images for all the platforms. There is one for LinkedIn cover photo. It says 1400, which is slightly off of the size that LinkedIn says. So just like I said, play around with it and upload what you create in Canva and make sure it's sized correctly. In Canva, you can put in your own size as well, though, when you create a design. So you can use that one from the previous document to set something up. But Canva has lots of templates. You can put your brand colors in. So if you don't have access to a graphic designer, you can still make a really professional image using this free Canva tool. It does have a paid version, but that's just for some additional bells and whistles. So recommend using this for anything. I also recommend Design School. This is some videos that Canva has set up that walk you through how to use it. So a great resource for all of your social media. Okay, so that covers kind of where to spend your time, at least initially, on your profiles. Like I said, we have is it 4 pages or 5 pages, Brian, in our checklist, 5 pages of things to also work on your profile. So please don't think that's all your homework. But we just wanted to cover a couple of the really important ones. If you don't do anything else, at least do this. But those documents, we've put together some really good information about what else you can do on your profiles. But a lot of people might be wondering, like, what do I share on LinkedIn? And I've pulled a couple examples here today from people who are using their social media platforms to still do business. And especially ones that maybe weren't traditionally doing business in this way. So, looking at new ways to deliver services and products. So, on the far right here, I met Noah about a couple months ago at a business after hours for our chamber, and they are an appliance store. And so normally, people would come in and shop, correct? Well, they are still open. They sell essential products, but they are taking to video, like so many businesses are, to say, hey, here's what we offer. We can still deliver same day. This is the products that we sell, but it's putting their owner out or their manager front and foremost and connecting with people, not just posting a picture of the washer and dryer, but putting a person talking about their business in front of it, which I think is really effective. Also, I love what Margot Dragon did here. She does Chinese medicine, acupuncture, obviously. She's had to pivot with her business, but she's doing Zoom sessions for consultations. And so, using social media to pivot your services, but also just to stay connected with people, to let people know you're still here, that connectivity can still exist. And it really creates customer and client confidence when you're able to do that. So really impressed with the folks who are taking to social media, and especially to LinkedIn, to still get their products out there. But like I said, you'll notice a theme throughout is video. The next webinar next week that we're going to do is all about video. And so if that is something, that you're not comfortable with, or you just want to learn the latest ways to use it, please join me next week. Like I said, if you're not comfortable getting in front of the camera, I'm going to share with you some programs that we use to create different types of videos. But we're also going to talk a lot about how you can use it to promote yourself, and especially during a time like this where we're not doing business as normal. The other thing that you can share is documents. So you can post things like PDFs and Word files directly through your company page. You can see here that if you just start a post, and then on the far right, there's a document icon. And then you can actually choose the file from either Dropbox, OneDrive, Google Drive, or just from your desktop. And it will then upload that file, and anybody that goes to your company profile can find those documents. But it will also create a post on your page, like this example here of our Instagram WOW profile checklist. And one of the things that I highly encourage you to do during this time when your business may be paused or a little slower is just start creating content like crazy. I don't remember what week it is, but we're doing a webinar specifically on content marketing. But kickstart that now by creating ebooks, cheat sheets, checklists. I'm going to talk in that webinar about how to put them on your website as gated content so you can grow your email list. But you can share them on social media as well. You can have them be part of your company profile page so that when people first find out about you and they're researching you, they can find these resources to learn more from you. And so definitely think about sharing some documents that show your thought leadership, that provide resources to people so that when they are ready to do business with you, or they're considering who they want to do business with, they're going to remember those people who helped them with free information, things that help them do their jobs better. So definitely consider that as far as sharing over the next several months. As I mentioned before, this does show up if you're on somebody's company page. At the top here, you can see all their posts, you can see their images, their videos, and their documents. And so you don't upload things directly to this. This just kind of archives any of these things that you've done as a post. So really cool way to build content on your company profile. Don't, like I said, link off to a document, actually insert it the way that I showed you, and that way it will live on your profile. So the other thing that you can be doing with content is finding relevant discussions to comment on. I'm going to talk a little bit more about hashtags, but this is just an example of if you were to search the hashtag stimulus package, because a lot of, especially small business owners, are wanting information on that. You can find an article discussing the topic and then comment on it, and that gives you exposure. And that's a way for you to get your name out there. You can see in this example, he was asking the question, what about businesses whose model is not one of instant sales? How is this going to have an effect? So, maybe you're an accountant or a lawyer and you have been researching the stimulus bill and you know exactly what this is going to be. This is an opportunity for you to comment on a conversation. You can see this post in particular has 49 comments, and so you can offer advice. Be careful about not plugging your business too hard, but it's an opportunity for you to share thought leadership. You can see this person who commented here said, my concern is I'm a co-owner of a small business. We provide economic advice to businesses, just a little plug there. So, that's something that, okay, I might look at, wow, so he's a director at PPM Consulting. I wonder what that business is. And I can click on that and I can go visit his business. So if you've got time, go participate in conversations that are happening that are relevant to your business and where you can offer some thought leadership and some advice. And that's another way that you can actually be putting content out there to get exposure for your business. I wanted to share a little bit, and I'm not going to dive into, I'm not going to dive into this slide, but I really wanted you to have it as a resource with the slide deck, is kind of the anatomy of a post. Um, the same way that I shared what you should have in your overview or your about, these are the kind of things to think about when you're drafting a post. So addressing your audience specifically, letting them know if this is a video or a checklist or a blog article, what's their time investment. I see those all the time, because if I see a video that's 8 minutes, I'm like, oh gosh, I don't have 8 minutes. I don't even know if I have 2 minutes. Let people know what the time investment is going to be. Describe the attachment if that makes sense. Again, there's a lot of characters available to you in the post, so use them. Include keywords that people might be searching. Be strategic with the hashtags that you include in it. Like I said, I'm going to talk about that more in a couple slides. Tag people who are relevant. I definitely don't recommend tagging people that you want to see the article because you're trying to market to them. People don't like that. But if you're talking about someone in the article specifically, then that's the person that you want to tag. Or if you're giving somebody a shout out where you're promoting them, that's where you might want to tag relevant people. But don't just tag a bunch of people that, they're going to kind of get spammed with getting this information in front of them. Again, use special characters and emojis to break up that text. And don't forget your call to action. What do you want them to do at the end of this post? Not every post has to have a call to action, but certainly specific ones, you may want to include that. But sometimes people leave that out. And so just kind of anatomy of things to think about, including. You don't always include everything in this list, but at least make sure that a lot of these bases are covered. Another thing that you can do, and I heard this recently, but I have not tried it, is posting directly in a hashtag community. You're able to get down here 3 different hashtags associated with your business page, and you can actually start a post, like go to that hashtag and start a post from there. Some people in the industry have said that that gets more reach. I, again, have not tried that. I don't know if it does. So the difference here is, and this is a little 201, so if you're not following me, don't worry about it. But if you've been on LinkedIn for a while and you want just kind of an advanced technique, instead of starting a post on your page, you can start it from the hashtag. So you can see the example that's up here, that there's 19 million people following social media. Start a post from there, it drops in the hashtag, and then you can do a post from there. So just a tip that I heard recently, not sure if it works yet, but that's another way you can start content potentially. Something else that you can use within LinkedIn is content suggestions. So if you go to your company page, up at the top in that toolbar, there's a content tab, and then you can choose and sort by industry. So for instance, I want to filter all LinkedIn members and look for marketing and advertising content. So this is what we call curated content. So if you're looking for things to post, but you don't have time to draft your own blog article, you can find trending articles from the last 15 days and share that on your page. So whether you're creating your own content, documents, blog posts, or curating content from other sources, this is a way that you can find good content on LinkedIn through that search function. So let's talk about leads now. So we've talked about, kind of content, what to share. Now I want to go into how you can use LinkedIn kind of behind the scenes to generate leads for your business or initiate conversations. And this is the part at the beginning that I said I was so excited when I learned how to do this. And I had no idea that this existed. But this is something else that you can be doing for your business right now. So you may have never heard this term, but it's the Boolean, I don't even know exactly how to say it, search string. It's when you put something, whether it's in Google or you can do it in LinkedIn, in the search and you use quotes and. So it's that whole like interlocking circles like this and this. If everybody meets these criteria, they'll show up. So when I was putting together these webinars, I was looking for chambers that wanted to partner with me because I knew that I had been successful with my own chamber with these free webinars. And so I wanted to see who in my network could I find, or just who on LinkedIn that was a chamber executive director in North Carolina. So I did a Boolean search, and this is the list that came up. And so what I can do from there, I don't know any of these people. I'm not connected to any of these people. However, these are potential leads for me for trying to make these chamber connections. And what's cool about LinkedIn is that you can see underneath, for instance, Brian Duncan, that he is connected to some of my connections like Anissa and Karen Shore. And so this is somebody who knows people I know. And I can initiate a conversation with them by letting them know what I'm offering, a free webinar series, why I'm offering it, what's the cost to them, just with a blind email or with a blind connection, as long as I'm not trying to sell them something. Or I can reach out to Anissa and say, hey, I see you know Brian Duncan. I'm really trying to connect with these chambers. Would you mind making an introduction for me? So just such a cool way. LinkedIn is such a powerful database of information for you to find your ideal customer. And this is just one example of how I could use it to identify people that might be interested in my product or service. Something else that I heard recently is just that the personalized engagement that you get through LinkedIn is where the relationships are truly built. Now, I get emails all the time from people I don't know trying to sell me something. I am not recommending you are doing that. But I am saying if you do a search like that, and you find people that might be interested, that you think might be interested in your product or service, and the more niche you are, the better. For just like I said, I was really trying to reach chambers specifically. I have an example of the chamber that I'm with, as well as 9 other chambers that have partnered with me. So I have a really good reason that they would want to do that. But then I can reach out to them through LinkedIn Messenger to initiate that conversation. And just, I wanted to show the two screens. So if you're on desktop on the right, this is what that looks like. And you can start a message, and down below, you can include a graphic or a link. And on this other image is if you're on mobile. So mobile, you can even include an audio message, a video message. There's several more things that you can do. There's a lot of evidence that doing the more personal videos or audio messages work. Now, do they work to somebody that you don't know at all? I don't know. I mean, if you got a video message from somebody that you never met before, would that appeal to you? I can say that it probably wouldn't to me. However, if I've met somebody a few times and I follow up with a video message that's personalized, that can go a long way. And so, these are just some of the tools that LinkedIn is building in that people are using. Very similar features over on Instagram in their direct messages. I know of companies that are, when you order something, the CEO is sending a personal video message thanking you for buying it to every single person that purchases. So imagine that, if I go online and I order something and I get a video message back saying, "Thank you so much, Lisa, for buying our product. We hope you enjoy it." I know that the person took the time to do that. And so, however you decide to use these tools that are inside of LinkedIn Messenger, know that they're available. The way that I like to use this is, like I said, I would start with just an email, just a text message through Messenger to those folks that I'm trying to target. And what I would also advise you to do is to not send them all the information, for instance, about the webinar. Just ask them, tell them who you are. And I'll give you my example. I'm Lisa Perry. I'm putting on a 6-week social media webinar series. I thought you might be interested because I've partnered with several other chambers to offer this and had great feedback. If you're interested, please just let me know and I can send you the information. And so then I'm allowing them to let me know yes or no. No pressure, just let me know if this is something you're interested in. If they say yes, then I follow back and I can send right through Messenger the link to the file or a PDF or a graphic to promote it. So that's how you can kind of use Messenger to nurture a business relationship, and the way you can search for people. So I've kind of included a little breakdown of that messaging formula here. Again, offer them something for free. Don't ask them to buy. Don't attach all the information in the initial email and then ask permission. Now, for some of you that might be small business owners and you're not necessarily strong with sales and you feel bad reaching out to people, I'm with you because I'm the same way. But what I learned from offering this webinar series is that there are more people that want to be a part of this than me worrying about whether I'm bugging somebody with an email. So if you feel like you have something of value, if you can offer kind of the initial thing for free, then I say go for it. And like anything else, you might ask 10 people and only get 1 or 2 yeses, but that's 1 or 2 yeses you didn't have before. So but what I love about this is how you can use LinkedIn to find your ideal audience, your ideal clients, your ideal customers. So another strategy, so that's just one strategy, is the Boolean search. Boolean search. I just love saying that. Another one, and this one is super cool, is the connections of filter strategy. So right now, it's probably more important than ever as we're staying at home, that we do e-research, as I call it, which is, out there searching for people that might want your products or services, and referrals. So, like I said, this whole webinar series really kicked off when I emailed Anissa and said, "Hey, can you connect me with some chambers?" I asked her to refer me to other people and just had such great feedback. But this is how you can use LinkedIn to try to figure out who you might want to refer you and to whom. So what you can do here is identify people who would be willing to refer you. And I've heard it mentioned as people who are super connectors. Like, who do you know who is really, really connected and knows a lot of people and doesn't mind recommending you to other. But then what we're going to do is find several people that that person might have in common and ask them if they would be willing to introduce you. Um, and then keep in mind that you want to have something specific that you would want to communicate to them. For instance, if I, say, well, I know Brian and Brian's really connected, so I'm going to see if he'll just recommend me to anybody for marketing. That's not very specific. Me saying I'm going to see if Brian can recommend me for this specific marketing class that I'm offering because I really want to target realtors. And Brian knows a lot of realtors. So, making sure that if you're going to ask somebody to refer you, that it is for something specific. And then draft some content that they could potentially email to somebody so that person isn't having to figure out what it is you're asking them. And then encourage them to CC you on an email message. So this is just kind of the strategy to use as far as how you're going to ask people to refer you and what that process is going to look like. Now, let me show you. I'm going to skip this slide a second, how you use LinkedIn to do that. So, and this is something that, like I said, you might need to watch a couple times, but it is so cool. So definitely take the time to do it. So when you click in the search bar up here, you'll see some options, and you want to click on people. Okay. And once you click on people, you'll then see this drop down over here on the right. And you want to click over to all filters. My little circle got adjusted, but that should circle all filters here. Okay. So we want to go in the search bar, click on people, and then go to all filters. Okay. So once we do that, we're going to have a screen like this pop up. And this is where I'm going to think of one of my super connectors. Well, Barbie Jones is a good friend of mine. She's also the executive director at our chamber. She knows a lot of people. Okay. And so I can actually look at all the people that Barbie Jones is connected to. But I want to narrow it down to a specific company because I really want to do business with National Gypsum Company because I've researched them. I think they're a perfect potential client of mine, but I'm looking for somebody that I can, reach out to. And so I can actually just search and see, does Barbie Jones know anybody? Well, guess what? She does. She knows two people. And I look at that and I see, okay, well, Bo actually knows 12 of my other connections. And so I could maybe ask Barbie and or Brian to recommend me. And so then I look, okay, Bo's in marketing. Wow. So we'll be connected. So he could be somebody really good for me to connect with. So I look in and I click on his profile and I look a little more closely and look at this. This is like the holy grail. He went to Ohio University, where I went to college. He is a fellow Bobcat. Oh my gosh, we're going to be best friends, me and Bo. So how quickly did I go into LinkedIn, find a contact with a company that I really want to reach out to, and find a connection, actually multiple connections because we know multiple people, and we have a connection through our alma mater. So I already have something I can talk to with this person and make a connection on. So I would go back to that formula and reach out to Barbie. And I'm sorry, I was trying to click back to it. Where was it? Oops, sorry guys. Identify that person, ask them to introduce you, tell them specifically what you want, and see if they wouldn't mind copying you on an email. But that's the process that you can take to try to make connections so that people can do referrals for you. Now, if I reach out to Barbie and say, hey, Barbie, I just saw through LinkedIn that you're friends with Bo Hussey. I'm really trying to reach out to him. Would you mind making an introduction? And then you can kind of take it from there. But you're armed with this information about him through his LinkedIn profile. Again, the shared connections, I can look at those 10 other connections and see that my friend Kasha, also in communications, is also friends with Bo. So I could ask either one of them if they wouldn't mind making that introduction. So during this downtime, when you don't have a lot to do, this is a way that you can make your to-do list of people that you want to reach out to. And maybe it's not even someone that you want to hire you. Maybe it's somebody you just want to connect with. Because I was so excited to see that Bo went to Ohio University, I thought I would search, well, let me see if Barbie knows anybody else that went to Ohio University. And so when I did that filter, I saw my husband Brian, of course, me, and then I saw Tracy here is also a Bobcat. Um, and she is an account executive at Metro Graphics. Well, she could be somebody that we could use to do our marketing printing when we have a client. So she could be a good partner for me in my business when I need print resources. So I look into her profile a little bit more, and I see when she was at Ohio University, she was in PRSSA. Well, guess what? I was in PRSSA too. So when I reach out to Tracy and I say, hey, I found you on LinkedIn. We have a mutual friend. I saw you were also in PRSSA. I would love to talk to you about possibly partnering. So just the way that you can use these filters through connections of, so that you can kind of find ways to, build that referral system, make connections with people. I just think it is so very cool. It is a little big brotherish. So when you email somebody, you don't want to say, well, I know this about you and this about you and this about you. So you want to be careful about how you do that. But if you do any type of networking, you know that finding commonality is key. And so with LinkedIn, you can already have some notes in hand about people that you're trying to reach out to and connect with. So really, really cool stuff. I would love it if you would try that. If you have success, definitely message me because I would love to hear about it. But remember, part of what you want to do before you start reaching out to people is their first thing they're going to do is check you out. So make sure that you take that time to look at, amping up your profiles and everything before you kind of start doing that, communicating with others through LinkedIn. The other thing I want to advise you is to make sure that you check your notifications regularly. The last thing you want to do is initiate these conversations and then not check your notifications. So I encourage people, spend maybe 15 minutes a day on LinkedIn, do a couple of these things, check your notifications, share an article, but make sure you use it as a tool. But I think that of all of the social platforms, this is the one that can really help you, stay informed, stay connected, and have it lead to business. More people are going to be on LinkedIn first thing in the morning. They're going to be on Facebook at night when they're sitting in front of the TV watching television. So this should be part of your workday. But make sure that you check those notifications. You can see that mine is cleared out because I check it all the time. So lastly, I just want to touch a little bit on hashtags, and this gets a little confusing. I find it hard to explain it exactly, but basically LinkedIn calls it a hashtag community, and that allows you to have up to 3 hashtags associated with your page. So this is pertaining to the company page. So when you're in there and you're doing your overview and the other things, there's a hashtags tab. And this right up here says it'll allow you up to 3 hashtag topics that matter to your page. And you can see these are the 3 that I have associated with our page. So I wanted to just dive into how I chose those. This does not mean that you can only use these 3 hashtags in your post. You can certainly add more. You can use, these are industry ones. And basically what I'm trying to do here is get into conversations on these hashtags. So if I'm doing an article about LinkedIn tips, I want that to show up with anybody that's searching that particular hashtag. You also want to use maybe company specific hashtags like hashtag Perry Pros, because that groups your content should you want to go back and see it. So, but the ones that you put into your community or your company profile should be ones that you're wanting to get into the conversations of people who are following those hashtags or searching those hashtags. And I wanted to show you how I came up with these and what my thinking was behind them. So the way that you want to research the hashtags before you just slap some in there. And the way you do that is just to type them in the search bar, like I showed you in an earlier slide. And it does something similar to what you do when you type things into Google, where it suggests different ones. So I typed in digital marketing, but then it gave me a bunch of other suggestions. Different from Instagram, which ranks them or suggests them in order of which ones are most popular, these are not. So do not just jump down and choose digital marketing company and assume that that has a ton of followers. You definitely need to look at each of these. But you can see that I've pulled 3 of them: digital marketing expert, and digital marketing tips. And so I'm not using digital marketing because you can see that that has 24 million followers, and that might be too broad for me. I don't want to use digital marketing expert because that's too small. It only has about 300 followers. But when I look at digital marketing tips, that has about 3,300 followers. So that's a big enough group where I feel like I'll get in front of a lot of people, but it's small enough where I think I might stand out. And so, that's why I chose that one. And you also want to think about, like, people don't care about following, an expert. They want tips. They want something specific. And so that's why we chose that one. We chose marketing strategy because that one is a little bigger. And so when you're thinking about what strategic 3 hashtags you want to use, you definitely want to take the time to research them, look at how many people are following them, and make sure that it makes sense for you. Following the broadest one that has the most followers is not always the best strategy. So just keep that in mind. When you're on your page, something else that's kind of cool is if you want to comment on articles as your business instead of yourself, you can actually go into the hashtag community and like search digital marketing tips like I did here. So again, with that strategy of commenting on other posts so that you can give yourself that thought leadership and comment on things. If you type in the hashtag from your company page, then you can see that your comment will show up as your company. You want to make sure that this shows up in the left-hand corner, your company info, instead of your picture, your personal picture. But that's a way that you can comment as a business. The community hashtags show up on your page over here on the right-hand side. And again, those are the ones that are associated with your page. You can edit them at any time, but that's how you can use those to your benefit. So just a little bit about hashtags. I'm just a little past 1 o'clock. Sorry, I ran a little long. Like I said, there's so much information. I tried to pull together some real things that I thought you could do right now, especially during this downtime, that I think would have an impact on your business. Like I said, we have put together a couple resources that we're going to email out to you this afternoon. These are the worksheets that you can use to really enhance both of your personal and company pages. If you're following any of our other webinars, know that we offer lots of other things off of Lisa Perry Social, including an Instagram stories course, a free emoji check sheet a month ahead. So stay connected with us. Like I said, we're going to continue generating these free resources. I definitely recommend that you join me in my Facebook group. A whole bunch of people joined after the last webinar. I was so excited to see people getting in there. Over the next couple weeks, we're building a content strategy to answer a lot of the questions that people have either asked during the webinars, after the webinars, in other ways, and I'm going to answer those questions through different posts within this group. So I highly recommend that you join the group and watch for all that good information that we're going to continue to put out there. If you want more of our webinars, I've included a link to two that I did earlier. The social media trends is still a good one to watch. There's a lot of good information in that, as well as the March Madness that I did last month. Thanks again for attending. I'm really glad that you took the time to be here today. But remember, I have given you homework, so please make sure you do something that you learned from today on your LinkedIn personal profile or your company page, or work those connections, because I really think that can be valuable. I'm looking forward to doing it for my own business. But this is my email, my other social media channels. Please connect with me. And hopefully I will see you next week for our video webinar. Again, please watch for the email that will come out, and also a survey. You'll get a survey first. Please take that survey. I had so many great suggestions off of the last webinar that really helps us as we put together these learning opportunities for people. So thanks again for being here. Email us any questions you have, and look forward to hearing from us later on today.